Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar number 8. Today, we will be unlocking the secrets to managing long-lasting live service games. But before we dive into the topic, and before I invite to the studio my co-host and our special guest, I would like to give you a quick reminder. So the reminder is the following. This webinar is brought to you by Balancy. Balancy is the LiveOps and monetization workspace designed to help your team work smarter and faster. Product managers rely on Balancy daily to drive conversions with personalized offers, reduce churn through engaging event schedules, and A/B test new ideas without overloading the development team. And industry-leading companies like 𝗬𝗲𝗊𝗲𝗀 and Lion Studios rely on Balancy to optimize their live games. And now let's meet the people that actually make this webinar happen. So please welcome my co-host, Michael Hripin.
Hi, everybody.
Who is also the product owner at Balancy. And our special guest for today, Sergei Vasiuk. Thank you for joining us. So give me just a minute to introduce Sergei for those of you who haven't met him before. Sergei is the LiveOps director at Wargaming and the leading LinkedIn creator in the LiveOps space. He has over 30,000 LinkedIn followers. Is that right?
Not almost. I mean, I need 600 more to reach.
Still, it's crazy. It's crazy, and the platform is growing rapidly. But you're posting the content that is worth following. So, guys, if it's the first time you find out about Sergei, I really recommend you to go to his LinkedIn page and subscribe. But that's not all, because Sergei is also the author of the recently released book, which is called Running a Successful Live Service Game. Yeah, and this book has made a lot of buzz in the industry recently. I personally read this book too, and I couldn't resist the chance to ask the author questions directly. So that is why I invited Sergei to join us today. And the audience, you also have the chance to ask questions to Sergei directly by asking questions in the chat. I see that today chat is very, very active. I hope we will not miss questions, but also just for you to understand that we have time limit. We will try to stick within like 1 hour session. So in case we don't cover your question, you can always just write us after the webinar and discuss it as well.
Yeah, or ping me on LinkedIn to DM, so I will be more than happy to reply.
Exactly. And one more important thing, which we have to mention, this webinar is also made around the giveaway of Sergei's book. So you have a chance to win a book written by Sergei today. And for that, you need to apply to 2 conditions. One of them you've already done. You're here with us. You've registered for the webinar. So that's condition number 1. The second condition, you should also comment under Sergei's post on LinkedIn, which announces the giveaway. So this Sunday, Sergei posted a post about giveaway, and he said, like, you have to comment the word book under the post. So please go to this post and comment if you want to take part in this giveaway. And 2 lucky participants will be announced at the end of this webinar. We have left this link somewhere in the beginning of the chat, so you can find it. I hope it's people say it's not clickable, but if you just Google Sergei in Google, if you search Sergei on LinkedIn and you find his recent posts, you will for sure easily find the necessary post. So, and that's it. Let's dive into the business. Let's talk about the book. Let's talk about LiveOps, right?
Yeah, let's do it. And thank you for having me here and give this opportunity to discuss what I wrote in my book and talking with the audience. And again, thank you for supporting the giveaway for the book. For me, it's also important to spread the word about my passion and about the 4 years project that was behind the day of publishing of my book.
Yeah, let's actually start from here. Like, I'm pretty sure the audience is curious to know, how did you come to writing this monumental book about LiveOps? Like, what was your journey in the gaming industry, and what events or what experiences have brought you to writing a book?
All right. Actually, it's funny, but I always say that initially all credit should go to COVID, because here in Cyprus we were locked for 4 or 5 months completely. We had just one SMS per day to go outside, and when you have so much time, you try to utilize it smart. And I started with my child dreams of assembling some engines from Porsche, from some aircrafts. And then, after 1 month, I understood that probably we have to do something inside the team. And we created a couple of very high-level presentation for internal use about what is LiveOps, what we're doing for other games in wargaming. And then it turns to our internal initiative, which we call Wargaming Forge, which basically like Wargaming Universe. And by the way, Julia was the participant for the cohort number 1 of this course. So we converted those presentation into online experience, and gave young talents and graduates a chance to join the gaming industry. So first cohort was in 2023.
Yeah.
Yes, and during our graduation party, online graduation party, one of the students asked me, why don't I transfer the online course into a book? So back to your question, Yulia, you are among the people and the students who actually motivated me to send a couple of applications to publishers with the proposal to publish my book. And one of them from the UK replied me, and we signed contract. And after almost 1 year, December the 3rd last year, book was published. So this is actually the journey from like 2020 until 2024.
I think that it actually, this Wargaming Forge initiative is a super interesting experience, because I believe you're maybe the only or one of not many companies who's doing this way. You're making like a super valuable course on the topic, and you're inviting people to take part, and then you choose these graduates that can actually start working within the company. That's a very interesting format, and I'm happy that it also led not only to good people joining the company, but also it turned out into the book, which is another amazing stuff.
Yeah, and then actually after 2023, we extended the amount of courses. In 2024, we launched 4 more in 2D, 3D, and virtual FX art disciplines, also QA and software engineering. So we see a great potential in this way of attracting young talent from universities.
Sergei, you've been in the wargaming team for around 12 years, right?
Yeah, I joined in 2012.
And you witnessed the amazing growth of the company. You started maybe when it was like a couple of 100 people. Everyone was still in one building. And now it's a multinational company with offices all around the world. So, of course, like big part of this company expansion is attributed to successful LiveOps. In your opinion, like you witnessed this growth, was there any revolutionary moment when you did something to your LiveOps that worked? Or was it more like a very gradual evolution of different LiveOps techniques and strategies within the company?
I wouldn't say that it was a revolution. It mostly was like evolution from the beginning. But to be honest, you're right. And in 2010, when World of Tanks was released, there was nothing in terms of tools and practice regarding LiveOps. I mean, even the word LiveOps didn't exist back then. But I would say that one of the biggest turning point was when we built our player relationship management system. Because before that, if we wanted to run a special offer, we had to do everything manually, selecting players, setting up conditions, coding it into the game, testing, deploying. It was slow, inefficient, and didn't scale well. So 𝗲𝗲𝗄 allowed us to automate and personalize LiveOps at scale, offering different experiences based on how players engage with the game. It meant we could target the right players at the right time with relevant offers, events, and engagement strategies, all without modifying game code or invite more developers from core development team.
And by the way, yeah, Michael, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask. I imagine that Wargaming wasn't your first employer. What was your educational or maybe professional background before you joining the wargaming or even game industry as a whole?
I mean, there must be no LiveOps program in the university, right? I think still there wouldn't be such a program.
By the way, Wargaming is my second employer. I mean, for my 25 years of experience. But I was born in USSR and finished my university in Minsk and Belarus. And historically, Belarus was the part of the Soviet Union economic cluster with a lot of engineering and technical universities. So basically, I finished advanced math class and then joined. I don't remember what the right name of this university right now, but technically, I get computer science degrees and spent like 10 years in development. So I started as Java developers, and then slowly got to the point where I was leading a small development team, and then I became a project manager. And literally, first 12 years of my experience I spent in outsourcing company. And back then, I remember that I was literally fed up with development for others. So I wanted to join some product-based company. And in 2012 in Minsk, there were like 3: Wargaming with World of Tanks, 𝗬𝗲𝗏, and I don't remember what was the third one. So basically, I joined Wargaming with two purposes. The first one, I wanted to work in the product company and in the product team. And another one, I mean, I spent all my childhood and then studenthood playing different games. So the passion was in me. Yeah, this was my journey before Wargaming.
That's great. So actually in Wargaming, you gathered your, let's say, all your expertise in game industry in LiveOps.
That's correct.
Yeah, and having in mind that Wargaming is operating these mid-core, maybe hardcore games, your LiveOps experience is mostly about these kind of games, or maybe it could be transitioned to casual or hyper-casual, any other genres. How do you think?
Yes, my experience only shaped with wargaming titles, which are mostly mid-core, hardcore. But I would say that LiveOps isn't about the genre of the game. It's about the player lifecycle. Whether it's hardcore shooter or a casual puzzle game, the goal of LiveOps is the same: keep players engaged, optimize retention, and drive sustainable monetization. So the difference is in the execution. In mid-core and hardcore games, LiveOps is focusing on deep engagement, long-term progression, seasonal content, and social play. Players expected frequent updates, high level of competition, and meaningful in-game purchases. In casual games, the focus is on frictionless engagement, simple rewards, and daily interactions. The key is to minimize barriers, making it easy for players to jump in and out while still feeling rewarded. So take Clash of Clans, for example. It's one of the most successful casual game ever. Why? Because it's constantly evolving with limited time boosters, daily rewards, leaderboards competition, and soft progression reset. So the core gameplay hasn't changed much, but the LiveOps layer keeps it fresh. So the same principles that apply for World of Tanks or Fortnite, let's say. So the key is understanding what keeps your players coming back and building LiveOps around it.
Totally agree. Thank you.
And I also, like, when I was reading the book, I was thinking about this question, like, can this be applied to casual games or not? And I came to the conclusion that actually the book is great at providing these universal frameworks, right? Like, it goes a little bit higher on the, let's say, macro level, where you define the structure of what LiveOps is and what it can be, and then developers can choose for themselves, like, if this is relevant or not for their game. Besides, since there is a trend for making more complex games, and all those like previously hyper casual developers are now turning not only to hybrid casual, but many of them are actually going into mid-core. We see the Say games are doing this thing. We see Voodoo going into strategy games. Like all these things are going crazy and developing so fast. And these casual, hybrid casual developers are definitely searching for this kind of frameworks and concepts that are also mentioned in the book. That's what my thought was around that question. Yeah, but let's talk a little bit about actually the content of the book, right? Because I think, of course, we will not reveal all the secrets, but we will touch upon some of the elements which I think are important. And let's start from the first thing, which is the basic thing, like the definition of LiveOps. I really like the definition that you, Sergei, give in the book. So you define LiveOps as a practice of introducing frequent and data-driven events to players without involvement of the game development team, and aiming to maximize player lifetime value. So in this definition, we choose the North Star metric, LTV, and all the live service work goes around this LTV and aimed at its optimization. And this leads me to a question. Does the live service game actually has to be successful and like with high revenue from the very beginning? Or is there a chance that the revenue metrics are low in the beginning, but with the help of LiveOps, you grow it into a long-lasting hit afterwards? And I will share also one interesting chart from your book here. This one, because it's just an illustration of how the revenue accumulation difference in traditional box games to the left and live service games to the right. So you can see that actually we start from pretty low revenue, we grow it. So in your opinion, Sergei, is it possible to have like an average game in the beginning, like, I mean, average revenue generating game, and then bring it to the top with the help of LiveOps?
Look, a live service game doesn't need to be a hit from day one, but you certainly need the right foundation. LiveOps cannot fix a game that isn't built for LiveOps. If you don't have core system in place, like progression, social features, skill-based depth, and monetization loop, then no amount of event offers or content drops will save it. And if you don't have the right tools to operate them, you are stuck before you even start. So also, if your retention numbers are bad, don't go public. I mean, that's why there is a common game development life cycle with alpha and beta test and OBTs and all of the soft launches. And if day 1, 3, 7, or 14 retention is way below benchmarks, you're not ready. Launching too early without fixing core engagement issues will kill your momentum before LiveOps even has a chance to work. So the bottom line, to your question, LiveOps can grow a good game, but it can't save a broken one. Get your systems and retention in place first, and then scale with LiveOps.
I don't know if you've heard about I mean, probably yes, you've heard about it because it was quite loud launch of the new King's game, Candy Crush Solitaire, right? And some experts say that it has pretty average revenue metrics so far. So it's been launched on the 6th of February. And in the first couple of weeks, it generated like no more than $400K, even less. So per day, it was like maybe 28,000 per day. And the experts say that this is a pretty low revenue right now. But we also know that, I mean, King knows how to make successful games. They have a playbook, they have a strategy, they know how LiveOps work. So what's your vision? Do you think that this game will grow into a hit over time and will reach the top grossing chart?
Look, I always wish any team in the game development community to hit the number 1 in the chart for revenue or active players or whatever they want, because we are a community, and I want all of the teams thriving. So I wish them to reach it. And but the main thing is that if they have these core mechanics and the core system inside, and I believe they are, because this is not their first live service game, so they know how to make it long term. So let's not judge this game after 2 months of after release, because I remember that when we launched World of Tanks Blitz for mobile, it was 2014. We actually started only with iOS, and then added Android after 6 months, and then switch on the full scale, the content production and everything. So, and if somebody take a look back to the summer of 2014 when we launched World of Tanks Blitz, it also didn't have very high numbers in terms of revenue. But now this is one of the flagship title in wargaming.
So your view is pretty positive. Let's check it after a while if your prediction went right.
By the way, we have a pretty interesting question in the chat, which pretty much aligned with my question that I would like to ask you right now. So probably you will answer them both. Let's try to deconstruct the LiveOps into some basic elements. What would you name these elements would be?
Look, this is, it's very kind of complicated question, but I will try to be very, very concise, because in my book, I have kind of 7 guiding principles that are essential for running a successful LiveOps strategy. And number 1, it's all about mindset. So live service game evolve constantly. So and again, back to the question from Yulia about new King's title. LiveOps isn't something you set up once and forget. it's an ongoing process of testing, tweaking, and adapting based on how players actually engage with your game. No matter how well you plan, players will interact with the game in an unexpected way. So you have to be flexible. So this is number one, or even number zero principles if you want to run a LiveOps game. Number two, it's all about tool set, and I call it flexibility in game system design. Your game needs built-in tools that allow LiveOps team to change things without needing a full developmental cycle. If your team has to go through engineering every time they want to tweak an event, you are lazy behind. LiveOps needs remote configurations, the ability to adjust rewards, event timing, store updates, and challenge it on the fly. If you look at the game like Fortnite, the ability to quickly introduce and remove content without constant patches is what keeps the experience fresh. Number three is commitment beyond launch. So a live service game isn't just about a great launch. It's about keeping players engaged for years. This means planning beyond day one and making sure that there is always something new, exciting, and rewarding for players to look forward. So this also means that devs and LiveOps team need to work closely together. If the core gameplay isn't designed with a long-term engagement loop, then the best LiveOps strategy wouldn't save it. Number four is all about data. So data is your friend, despite the fact that LiveOps is part art, but it's also part science. You need players' feedback and data analytics to guide decisions. The first time you run an event, you might not get it right. But if you analyze who played, who dropped off, who spent money, and why, you can adjust and improve it. Number five is that revenue follows engagement. One of the biggest mistakes studio makes, chasing monetization too hard too soon. If players love your game, they will naturally want to invest it. That's why players' engagement should be the first focus, with monetization being a natural experience, extension of a great experience. And the next one, I call it like quality perception is subjective, because every decision in LiveOps will have some players loving it and others hate it. So you cannot please everyone, but you can focus on the decision that move the business forward while staying fair for players. And number seven, which is really essential right now, is the manage cost smartly. LiveOps is an ongoing investment, and if you don't manage content pipeline effectively, it can quickly become unsustainable. So not every engagement strategy requires massive high-budget content update. You can rework old event. You can use smart automation for offer personalization. You can even introduce user-generated content where possible, just to decrease the investment into your internal content production. So I would say that those seven guiding principles are essential for a successful live service game.
Thank you so much. Let's dive a bit into details. I would like to discuss the segmentation and personalization and that kind of stuff. I think historically all started from segmentation, but then devs went further. So let's start from segmentation as well. You have your own concept from which segments it would be better to start for any game at all. Could you please describe it? How do you see this initial segmentation?
Yes, Yulia, can you please share the image from the book? Yes. Segmentation can sound overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be complicated to start. The key is starting simple, then refining over time. It's better to start with micro segments like new MAU, MAU, and lapsed players to ensure statistically significant analysis, and thereafter add micro segments up to enhance relevance. So let's talk about new players. These are fresh installs or players in their first weeks. Their needs a great onboarding experience. If they don't understand the game or feel frustrating, they're gone. Focus on tutorial, welcome gifts, and guidance. Then active players, so your monthly active audience. These are players who engage regularly. Their needs, more content, reasons to keep players, and progression incentives. This is where seasonal events, personalized offers, and social competition come in. And the last one, lapsed players. Players who haven't logged in for a while. Their needs a reason to return. This could be a time-limited reward or personalized "we miss you" offer, or a new feature update that excites them. Once this basic segmentation is in place, you can refine and further. Social versus solo players. Some engage in clans, others play alone. Then spenders versus free players. Some buy premium content, others never spend. Casual versus hardcore players. Some logged in daily, some once a week. So the key is not overcomplicating it at first. Start with the simple segmentation, test what works, and then fine-tune based on your data.
Thank you so much. I've heard that some people say that it is better to go even further than segmentation. The future is in personalization or even in hyper personalization. For some games, it works. But I would like to know your opinion. Maybe some other approaches work better or could work better than like going to personalization, like too deep into it. You have this information in your book as well. You have this charts showing that some game events like producing much more revenue and user engagement that any segmentation could do. Could you please elaborate about?
Sure. And again, Yulia, we need your help with all right. Yes. So you're absolutely right. So special events are the biggest traffic driver in live games. When a new season drops, a major crossover happens, or a limited time event launch, you get spike in player activity. But here's the catch. Those peaks don't last forever. If you only rely on events, you can get a roller coaster of engagement. Highs when an event is inactive, followed by sharp drops off when it ends. That is where personalization steps in. It's ensured that even outside of event, players still feel engaged. If a players finish an event, but they get a personalized challenge, an exclusive quest, or a special offer based on their playstyle, they are more likely to stay. It's about balancing the peak and the plateaus, even events, which brings players back. But personalization keeps them playing between those peaks.
So both are equally important in that sense. But still, like we look at the chart and we see that the biggest number of revenue in absolute terms is brought by special offers and events. On the other hand, we know that production of this new feature and big events can be super, super expensive, especially if you're a big company, you also attract stars like wargaming does a lot. How do you ensure that this equation of profit and expenses stays profitable for you? And maybe you can recommend some cheap strategies for developers to run LiveOps events.
Right. Not every engagement strategy requires big budget content updates. Some low cost but high impact tactic can be used. So first one is recycling content. Not every event has to be built from scratch. You can take an old seasonal event, tweak the rewards, add a small new mechanics, and relaunch it as version 2.0. Another one thing is the social intensives. So adding referral programs, squad bonuses, or clan challenges boost retention without extra efforts. Another one of the best way to stretch content is by maximizing its life cycle. It's also inside my book. So with the example of how a new skin shouldn't just be released in the store and forgotten. Instead, it can be teased as an event, generated buzz before launch, then released. It can be bundled with perks like limited time bonuses or tied to an in-game challenges to boost engagement. Months later or 2 months later or quarter, depends on your cadence, it can be reintroduced as a reward for lapsed players, bring them back into the game. Another one thing beyond in-game content, influencers and the player-driven content offer a way to sustain engagement without constant development. Instead of rolling out frequent resource-heavy updates, studio can shift engagement efforts to the community. Running influencer-driven tournaments or in-game challenges keeps player engaged, while content creators generate buzz.
But to perform, let's talk a little bit about infrastructure. Like, to be able to perform all of these strategies, even the most simplest ones, even the most, let's call, cheapest ones, or essential ones like segmentation, analytics, events, offers, you need a strong tool set. And I know that at Wargaming, you have an in-house system, which you call internally Player Relationship Management System, PRM, right? And you started building it more than a decade ago. And of course, at that point in time, there was no ready platforms available, and the decision to go with the in-house platform was a very logical one. But how has the situation changed since then? And would you be still opting for in-house development in 2025, or would you consider some solutions that are available today on the market?
Yeah, so back when we built our PRM at Wargaming, there were no real LiveOps tools available. And PRM gave us full control. We could tweak game parameters without new builds, run dynamic offers, and automate engagement based on players' behavior. But today, the industry has caught up. So there are solid third-party tools, including Balancy, that do 80% of what we built right out of the box. You don't need to spend millions or wait years to get a functioning LiveOps system. So back to your question, probably not. I will try at least to research the market. And the smartest move right now is buy what's already built and customized where I need it. So use third-party tools for things like segmentation, event automation, and analytics. Build only if you need something unique. For example, the custom physics server for unique gameplay mechanics, and you need specific tools that will help you, adjust progression or whatever. But don't also keep in mind the switching cost. If you fully committed to a third-party system and later need to migrate, it's painful. So a hybrid approach, start with the external tools slowly, not build in-house, but like extend it with your custom plugins or whatever this third-party solution gives you. This is a good balanced way to integrate tool set right now. So the bottom line, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel unless you are a massive publisher needing absolute control. Buying and integrating existing LiveOps tools is faster, cheaper, and just as effective.
Yeah, thank you for the valuable advice from your experience. I mean, of course, you would still have a lot of in-house solutions. Whatever studio you are, for certain things, you will have custom-made in-house, I don't know, spreadsheets or some admin panels. But in many cases, you can easily combine them with ready tools and, like, as you said, not to reinvent the wheel that already exists.
Okay, let's talk maybe about modern trends. The biggest trend nowadays is AI. What's your vision on using AI in LiveOps?
Oh, AI is the very broad definition. So I would let just try to rephrase it to more kind of predictive analytics that we are using right now a lot in wargaming.
Mm-hmm.
And predictive analytics, it's really hot topic right now. But let's be real, data alone wouldn't fix your game. It's what you do with it that matter. Predictive analytics can tell you who is about to churn, who might spend, or how an event might perform, but it can't run LiveOps for you. Think of it like adaptive cruise control in the car. It can adjust your speed, but you still have to steer. Same with LiveOps. You need the right execution plan to make predictive analytics actually useful. Take churn predictions as an example. Your predictive models might say these players has an 80% chance of quitting in 2 weeks. Cool, but what next? If you don't have the right offers, events, or engagement tactics in place, that insight is useless. Predictive analytics helps identify problems, but LiveOps teams solve them with targeted retention offers, A/B testing different way of packaging your offer, localization for different regions, or localization by using different occasions in different regions. So personalized offers sound great, but bad personalization is worse than none at all. If a player feels like they are being pushed into spending, they will bounce. So the best personalized LiveOps strategy enhance players' experience, not just maximize revenue. So the biggest myth in this that set it and forget it. So predictive analytics or any AI stuff is a tool, not a strategy. It can help you adjust, but LiveOps teams still need to create, experiment, and refine.
Thank you. Yeah, I would agree. But predictive analytics is like, it looks more like machine learning stuff, not the AI as an independent agent or something like that. But maybe we will come to that. And maybe it's a future trend. What would you say about future trends in LiveOps? Where do we go now?
Yeah, look, I don't want to go to this deep water and speculate about AI, Gen AI, and all of this stuff. So I will be more grounded in a way. So I would say that live services games aren't just about devs making content and players consuming it anymore. The future is games as a platform where players, creators, and brands all add value, keeping games alive way beyond what studio can do alone. So we are already seeing this shift. In the past, devs build games, dropped updates, and hope players stick around. Now players don't just play; they create, stream, and monetize. The games that last are the ones that let players shape the experience. It all comes down to who is making the content. A traditional game, the devs build it, players consume it. A platform, the devs set the stage, and the players help fill it. So look at Fortnite or Roblox. They are not just games; they are creation tools. Epic even launched Unreal edited for Fortnite, basically turning the game into mini game engine. This isn't a trend; it's a future, from my opinion. It's not just about running an event or selling skills anymore. Smart studios are building relationships with content creators and community. Let's say Roblox DevX program lets creator earn real money inside the game. Or in World of Tanks, we are running battles of bloggers, which help us boost engagement without constant dev work. So I believe that in the future, every successful live service game will be a platform where players don't just play, they create, share, and connect. So I have like three personal advice to anyone who look to the next 5-10 years in live service game. The first one, give players tools, modes, user-generated content, let them shape the game. Number two, think beyond gameplay. Make games place for socialize, create, and monetize. And lastly, build for longevity. LiveOps isn't just about content drops. It's about sustaining engagement even when devs step back. So the best LiveOps strategy won't just keep players playing. They will keep they creating. That's what keeps games alive for a long time.
Yeah, and games as a platform is actually what you're a big advocate of, and I'm following your LinkedIn. You write a lot about it and make videos about it. So I'm happy that we mentioned this topic too. Now we have a little bit of time left, and we have a couple of questions from our audience. But since there is just literally like 5 minutes for questions, no more, we can make it in a kind of blitz, so you don't have to give very, very elaborated questions. You can just say the most essential things. And let's start with this question, which I think is actually a very interesting one. So, of course, you have different data sources, right? And how do you prioritize your data player insight that are collected in different sources? For example, you have public online space, Steam page, Reddit, etc. You have Discord, surveys, player behavior data. So what do you do if this data is contradictory as
Look,
well?
if we have just a blitz-like way of answering, so I would say that any public data and reports and our community reports from Reddit, Discord, or whatever, we're using as a source for ideas that we want to check. And then we launch kind of A/B test with personalized campaign or events with some mechanic insight, and then check if we have like statistically significant result, and only after that we just scale it. So we are using kind of 2-3 steps in how we use data. First part is for ideation, another one for setting up like a test campaign or test event. And the last one is the data that we're using for scaling, this idea as an ongoing campaign or event that we are reusing, let's say, every year.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. The next question is by Martin, and he's asking, is LiveOps everything we do for players after game release, or is it just a part of running a game as a service? I think this question is actually, everyone can give different answers to this one, but I'm very curious what you, Sergei, believe in.
Yeah, this is actually depends on the studio. So in wargaming historically, we didn't have LiveOps. I mean, in 2000, as I said, in 2010, LiveOps as a word didn't exist. So we still have kind of organization structure with publisher who is responsible for a relationship with streamers, with our offline partners, with collaboration with brands, and LiveOps, which is more about personalization stuff or events within the game without involving development resources. But there are, I know there are other way of running live service game. So if, let's say, you take a look on any new studios with like 5-6 years of history, mostly they have only LiveOps, which include like publishing, even marketing, acquisition, influencers, everything. So it depends on the studio structure and the history of studios and their relationship with live service operations.
Mm-hmm. Another question. How do you reconcile the tension between maximizing lifetime value and maintaining ethical monetization practices?
Yeah, very good question. Because ethical monetization practice is also like a definition which everybody can argue it on. But for us, if you take a look, let's say, on our loot box mechanics, we always share the odds for our loot boxes. Moreover, according to the law in China, we even disclose all of these probabilities. Moreover, every time when we launch any loot boxes, there is like 100% guarantee rewards back to these loot boxes. So if the long story short, every studio decides what ethical monetization practice is for them. So we try to be like very generous. That's why our World of Tanks audience even wait until holiday ops to purchase all of the content that we are doing for holiday ops, because this is the best season in World of Tanks where you can buy the content.
Thank you. One of the last questions from Zara. What is the most important skill a designer should have to be able to design LiveOps events that monetize? And what is the most important tool a startup studio must have to support LiveOps?
Look, what I see right now is that the line between LiveOps managers, game designers, and game economists, they are blurring. So 5 years ago, everything about LiveOps was around monetization. So let's just personalize, push, sell, and so on. So even right now in World of Tanks and LiveOps team, we have 4 different teams. One of them producers who are literally like game designers who create a small the design for small event, including progression and rewards and monetization. So it's not in such a big scale like, let's say, mode or a big event in World of Tanks. It's on a smaller scale, but mostly all of our LiveOps producers are very close to game designers. So basically, if you want to design LiveOps event, you have to understand the basic principles of game design and how these principles are using in your particular title.
Great. So now we have time left only for one more question. So sorry if someone's question didn't get featured. So this is the last question. Live service games aim to keep players engaged over a long time, but in the end, they all compete for a limited resource, the player's time. How can new live service titles compete against more mature games with their established live ops?
I don't know answer to the question, and if I do, I believe that Sony will buy me immediately, or like 6 months ago, and ask this question before they release a Concord's title. Yeah, this is the problem: is that we just have 24 hours a day, and if you take a look on the statistics, and I actually included into my book that. 8 out of 10 top games in terms of MAU are 8 years old. Fortnite, Call of Duty, Rainbow Six. So all of them are really old. World of Tanks. There we will celebrate 15 years anniversary this year. It's hard, but it's not impossible. Take a look on Helldivers. So yeah, they managed to release a game which made a buzz, and still has a good amount of monthly active users.
All right, thank you. Guys, if your question hasn't been featured, don't worry. You can write this same question to Sergei on LinkedIn, and he promised us that he will answer you. And now the most exciting part of this webinar, we actually want to announce results of our giveaway of the book with you. And this will be a random process. So right now, none of us, neither me, nor Michael, nor Sergei, know who is going to win these books. So we will do it in front of you. We will show you the table with participants, their random numbers. So sorry if something goes wrong, because it's a completely live process and we're doing this for the first time, but I hope everything will be smooth. Also, I can tell you that many people have made all the conditions to participate in this giveaway. So they participate in the webinar and they commented under Sergei's post. So these two conditions are important. If you haven't commented on the Sergei's post, unfortunately you're not taking part in the giveaway. So the number of participants for winning the book, we have 37. There are many more registrants, so I believe some people actually prefer to buy the book, and that's a good choice because you can do that. Option 1, on Amazon, you can buy both paper book and digital book, or on the publisher's website, which the link I left in the comments here. Okay, so now I will share my screen. So right now you should see my screen. Do you see the table, right? So we have 37 participants. We go to the random org and select numbers from 1 to 37, and we generate the first winner. The first winner is number 25. Let's check who this is. Artyom Shane. So congratulations, you're the first winner. The first book will go to you. And we have the second winner. So let's generate one more time. And it's number 23. Number 23 is Mysterious Christian without surname. Okay, we will find you and we will give you the book. So
sounds scary. We will find you.
Okay, so I stop sharing this, and I will reach out to you guys via LinkedIn. So please accept my friendship request, and I will write you how we can present you this book. And yeah, I guess we've covered everything we need. And we can wrap up the session, and we're perfect with the timing. Guys, everyone, thank you for participating. Thank you for such an active chat. It's such a pleasure to see so many active people. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Sergei, for coming as a guest to our webinar.
Everyone,
thank you very much, yes, for the invitation. And again, thank you for your support to spreading the book. It's a great pleasure for me to have this, an ability to give this as a gift to the audience.
Indeed. So bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you next